Welcome back to Sims Complete. I'm your host, Matt Sims, alongside the man himself, Phil Sims, on the Believe Sports Network, brought to you by FanDuel. We just got through Championship Sunday. It's in the books. The Super Bowl is set. We got the Patriots. We got the Seahawks. We got Mike and Mike, not to be confused, Vrabel, Macdonald.
Yes.
Just an unbelievable, turn of events that we've seen here these past few weeks in the NFL, and the stories, of course, with both teams, their histories, the individual stories that go along with it. But man, action-packed weekend, big guy. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Anything just you want to start with here as far as just the opening of how your day was yesterday watching these football games?
Well, since we had the snowstorm up here, it was just me and Dirty Diana, my wife. That's what Christopher called. I shouldn't have said that. But, we enjoyed it. I think she enjoyed watching and yelling at the TV screen and, oh, what a throw.
Yeah.
She had it all going. So that was a lot of fun. I was exhausted.
Well, clearly she was talking about the second game with that comment, but yes.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. Yes. The second game, it was exhausting. Both teams. Because the snow, I think most of the time just glossing over everything. I was just mad the snow was being part of the game. And I understand elements, that's part, but I just want to see the two teams on a field that they can and have the weather where they can really do and try to be who they are. And we'll talk more about that as we go on.
Yeah, I understand. I think a lot of fans feel the same exact way too, of just, maybe the better team didn't win, outcome would have changed, all that kind of stuff. You're not seeing the best of both teams because of them managing the elements and all that. I totally get that. Some people, I think, feel exactly the same way. Other people are like, hey, you guys are soft. All right, just get it done, But, there's that contingency as well, right? And, maybe they're from the Northeast area as well, considering my accent that I chose there. But either way, it was great football. It was competitive. And, we got two polar opposites of games and to break down action. But let's start with last night's matchup.
Right.
The NFC Championship game in Seattle at Lumen Field. The Seattle Seahawks take down the LA Rams, which was, a phenomenal game, 31-27. You had a little of everything in this matchup. Of course, the quarterback play was as good as you can get in the NFL, or really just in any aspect of football. It was about as pure as it possibly can be from that position alone. The coaching was phenomenal. The coaching decisions, of course, there's some questionable things that we'll discuss here in a moment, but just where would you like to start here, big guy, with the conversation of the Seahawks-Rams game?
Okay, one of the proudest people on earth today is Gary Kubiak, okay?
Yeah, right.
He's sitting there. I guess he would be at home watching the game, and his son, Clint Kubiak, hey, hire him.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, I don't know if he's ready to be a head coach in the NFL. That I don't know, but I know one thing, his offense is ready for the NFL. And it was just – and I wrote it down, Matt, too, as I was watching it. They're doing everything. Formations, movement, screen, boots, get to here. Just the movement of the quarterback, of course, helped out a lot too. But just the play calling and the play designs, it never ended. And when Jackson, Smith, and Jigma, as they did a great job on the telecast, Tom Brady goes, when he's in the backfield, that tells you something.
Yeah.
He's not back there to run the damn ball. He's back there to get a route, a one-on-one, a zone, whatever it is. And, man, those were big plays. And when that happened, and it was really well done by the receivers, and Sam Darnold hung in there and threw the touchdown over the top to get it, I just went, wow, that's coaching, toughness by the quarterback. And that's just my first initial thought, I guess, of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're exactly right with Coach Kubiak. I think this was one of the best games that he called the entire season. And him and Sam Darnold, of course, best called game of the season, along with the best execution by his quarterback all season long in the moment they needed the most. And, that play that you mentioned with JSN out of the backfield. And, of course, Tom Brady's correct, right? When that receiver goes into that running back position in motion that way, hey, all signals have to say something's different here. He's usually not in this position, right? But I think that's just the preparation of it. I can say that there's, a high probability that Shula And the Los Angeles Rams defense never really prepared for the thought of JSN going in motion and lining up into the running back position. And with the zone defense that they were running, they ran a post route. Cooper Kupp runs a out and return. And then JSN is basically just kind of filling that void between the two defenders running that high corner route. And that responsibility in zone like that, it either falls on a few different people, but because he lined up in the backfield, it essentially falls on like that backer to that side. And you can almost guarantee that the linebacker to that side was never anticipating having to mark JSN from the backfield and cover him on a corner route. So you're exactly right, Big Guy. Just awesome coaching to take advantage of that defense in that situation. Yeah. And really exploited a lot of the things they were doing. And that's unfortunately for Shula. When they ran man, they beat man. When they were running zone, they were beating zone. Hey, they were all over it in this game.
They were on fire. And you know what? The defense, they can't react to that. Jackson Smith and Jigma getting in the backfield. It's happening so fast. The only thing you can do is call a timeout and stop that play.
Right.
If you want to do that. But very seldom do we see that done. So, like you said, great design, great execution. Darnold hangs in there, and there's nothing he can do. That would be up to the coach to run down the sideline and call a timeout because he knows they're about ready to get waxed or whatever you want to say.
Right.
Let me say this about even that play. Sam Darnold, I wrote down a lot of stuff about him because it wasn't a good game by him, Matt. Damn, he was great.
He was great.
I mean, he had it going. He's the guy that walked out in the field that, yesterday said, man, I really feel good. And the football came out of his hand great, almost every single throw. But I just wrote that, hey, he's a good passer. Yep. He's a very good thrower. His movement in the pocket was great in the game. And I'm kind of surprised they didn't talk about that a little. Sam Darnold, as he drops and gets ready to throw, he has that little bounce, and which I think you like to teach quarterbacks that they can do it. But it's really small. But what it did, it allowed him to go from, and he did it many times, from the right or left, outside, boom, boom, throw. And I mean, he went all the way across the field once and threw a touchdown. I think it was to Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
He went boom, 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 boom. And he was letting it go. And it probably was the best game of his pro career. And if I was him, I'll leave it there. Not going to answer questions, all that stuff before the Super Bowl can you repeat? Whatever. I don't want him to get caught in that. He did a great job after the game, not answering all the questions. Well, did you prove it to everybody and all that other stuff? He wasn't going to get into that. He's just playing football. Man, was that an awesome game by him.
Yeah, and good for him, too, to pass up basically the opportunity to basically just shit on everybody that's been doubting him his whole career, right? Because that's definitely something I'm not wise enough. I absolutely would have been like, yeah, hey, F this guy, F that guy. They doubted me. Eat it.
You know why you can't do that.
You would have called me and been like, son, you are a dumbass. What are you doing?
No, I'm going to say something different instead of that. But he'll never be able to do that because sooner or later, he's going to have a bad game, and then they'll just throw it back on you.
Of course. Yeah. But you know what? That's the thing too. Like that's where people like us and fans of the game too. That's what I enjoy, right? I can't wait to talk to people about football and get into it, and they'll be like, well, if the Seattle Seahawks can get to the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold, then I can't wait to I'm going to jump on it right away and just be like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just a fan. If you were watching the film, you would have realized this guy's been having a great year. Yeah, he's had some struggles here or there, but who hasn't? That's the thing too. That's hilarious, right? It's like, how many times did Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady bring up the fact that he struggled a few times during the season? It's like, okay, so did Matt Stafford, so did Drake May, so did every other damn quarterback, so did Patrick Mahomes. So it was really funny too. And I even thought that Tom at times had a hard time actually admitting that both quarterbacks were playing really good football, but that's just me, kind of looking through the tea leaves.
The whole season, they're going to go back. You always struggled in this game. Oh, well, you said it right. That bothers me too.
Right.
When I do hear that. And, to what today a lot is, well, Geno Smith could be there or whatever. And he decided to go to over there and they took Sam Darnold. They didn't, whatever. And I just go, I mean, he's very talented. And I would say this, I wrote this in my notes. I didn't even say it the first time. He is an aggressive decision maker.
Yeah.
And when you're an aggressive decision maker, no matter how great you're throwing it, sooner or later it will bite you sometimes. But
Right.
That's really, I'm going to say that's what you want. And then there's times, no matter what, you can't be that aggressive decision maker.
And let's also remember, too, that this guy's a first-round draft pick, right? He's a top 10 pick. He's in that same class of Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and how he was the bust out of all of them. And you know what? He's going to the Super Bowl before all those guys.
Last thing.
And that's why it's a great team game, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it's also, too, a credit to him and his resilience to continue to pursue, right, his craft and getting better at each and every year, despite being, kicked to the curb multiple times in his career.
Well, this is the last time I'm going to say it once again. I've said it many times. I'll never get over the picture I saw of the Carolina Panthers. They do a shot of the sideline, and what do you think you see? You see Sam Darnold standing next to Baker Mayfield as the offense is on the field, because neither one of them was good enough to get on the field for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
I mean, they had their franchise quarterback. Who are you laughing at?
My son.
Oh, your son. Okay.
Yeah.
But they had a chance. There was a franchise quarterback, and they didn't see it because they were judging that because the team wasn't very good. The system wasn't very good, but they're going to blame the quarterback. Well, and they're both probably going, thank God they pushed us out there, because it's worked out pretty well for both of them. But exciting, listen, as you're watching the game, give me a thought or two about the defenses just having a hard time stopping the offenses.
Yeah, it's funny because when I look at this matchup, right, and as I'm watching it there, it's interesting. With Stafford and the Rams offense, I thought that was just phenomenal quarterback play versus a really good defense. And then with the Seattle Seahawks offense, I thought I saw great game planning and execution by a quarterback versus a defense that really has lost its way.
Wow.
And man, I mean, it's unbelievable because like midway through the year, I was like, wow, the Rams defense, it's legit. It can be a really tough matchup for teams going forward. The pass rush seemed like it really lost a lot of its juice towards the end of the year. I mean, where is Brandon Fitz? Where is Jared Verse? Where is Colby Young? Where is like they were getting pushed around physically week after week after week. And then, Shula with his defensive philosophy, I think you can kind of tell even in this matchup. When he went to man, they got burned. When he played zone, they got burned. It's like they really never had any identity where they were like, this is what we do. This is what we do extremely well. And the whole 4-man rush thing and playing zone behind it, ultimately is what just I feel like cost them the game.
In NFL football, good quarterbacks, as I say all the time, you and I do, they're going to tear up zone defenses.
Yeah, and that's what happened.
There was a couple times I went, look at it. It's a zone. Sam Darnold knew it was, of course, zone. Yeah. So he dropped back and he did the old, I'm looking left. And then he turned, and as he's throwing, he goes, he's open. I'm going to let it go.
Yep.
And I probably saw, I'm not going to exaggerate, I think I saw 3 or 4 of those where it was blatant bounce, 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 completion. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like those completions were really good. But again, he made the defense move just enough. He gave the receiver a little more time to get open, and he hit some big plays like that.
And he was protected well, and he did a good job of avoiding certain sacks in some situations, and also too did a great job of throwing while the pocket was collapsed and bodies were around him. Right. And that's where it's, of course, like you don't notice the pass rush even more so because of how composed he was going through his process and making these throws and these contested throws while people are hanging on him. So it really was just a great display by high level quarterback play and awareness by Sam Darnold and all of his years of experience. Yeah, literally just kind of being poured out there on the field live for us to see of like, man, this is pretty cool, right? His talent and dealing with the oblique injury too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not an easy thing for a thrower, and especially in this type of environment, right? Being able to throw with power and anticipation with the oblique, that could be a very tedious injury for a QB to deal with.
Well, the old saying, and I like it. I don't think this will be the first time I ever said this little phrase, but the muddy pocket. They were all around him. It didn't bother him. He still made the plays, the throws. And a couple of things. Let's don't forget who he's got at wide receiver either.
Yeah.
He's got some studs to throw to. And, of course, it's led by Jackson, Smith, and Jigma. There we go. I said it without screwing it up. But, yeah, he's the leader. But they find ways to use, there's Cooper Kupp, which he's still, he looks good. He looks trimmer and really fit and looks like he's back to running at the speed that he used to have great success with the Rams.
Well, he's just tough. He's tough.
Yeah,
he's played tough. A lot of football. He knows what he knows his role, right? And that's where I feel like it's just like it's great to have guys like that, right? Yeah. And it's not like he's someone that hey, game's on the line. We need you to win one-on-one against the number one corner here. And it's like, no, hey, we're going to put you in places to succeed, and he's going to definitely beat the number 2 or number 3 corner on a football team as Sam goes through his progression and makes the right read. Even the go route to Rashid Shaheed there to start the game early on, was just like, oh, you're going to play man? All right, we're just going to throw a go right by you. So that really even was a great tone setter of the game of just saying, we are going to win it with our quarterback. We're not going to be afraid to take these shots. And you are going to have a hard time stopping us offensively.
Good point. That's probably one of the reasons why they didn't play as much man-to-man, because they go, well, we can't really stay with any of the receivers.
Yeah.
Because even Cooper Kupp is slick as hell.
Right.
He can make 3 moves in one. And Rashid Shaheed, his speed is always something that will scare you.
Yeah.
But, so there we go. I'm going to go to the other side and watch. And what did I think of, how they ran their offense, the Rams.
Yeah.
One, I love the fact that they do the bootlegs and you get Stafford outside to the opposite tackle, and he has tons of space to move and throw. And my gosh, did he throw how many really, really borderline great throws did he make in that game? And the answer is a lot.
Well, the best was when they show the highlights of his throws behind the line of scrimmage. So you kind of see his viewpoint, and Tom's just like, oh, here's another throw by Stafford. And then you can kind of see his tone where he's like, and another tight throw by Stafford and another. And it's just like, yeah, like I think a lot of people, and even Tom, like, we weren't people. I feel like just that was something special, man. The display, the throwing that he displayed yesterday was MVP caliber throwing. And that's what's phenomenal. I mean, that's why he is the MVP of the league. Some of the throws that he made in tight windows are unbelievable. And a lot of guys wouldn't even attempt them. Right. So that's the other aspect of it too. You got to think too, for the Rams, if they weren't giving up so many yards by their defense, if they would have been a little bit more consistent running the football, because it did seem like when they had some opportunities to run or were trying to run the football, they could have maybe done a little bit better than what they did. So yeah, just kind of curious to see if they would have played a little bit better defense, if Sean McVay would have stuck to the run a little bit more in this situation.
I think there came a time in the game, and I forgot what the score was. The Rams had a two-score lead, but it was almost like, oh, we got to keep pushing because they had no faith in their defense.
Yeah,
and I think it was when Seattle scored, it just changed whatever thought you have of Matt. They're going to stay with the run and do all that. That went out the window because there's Sean McVay going, we can't stop them. And so I'm gonna give a lot of credit to, even though this is maybe hard to say, the Seattle secondary. The one thing they did, man, they got their hands on a lot of footballs.
Yeah, they
were on the guy and they reached, and they look like everybody's the same guy over there. They're all lean as hell. They got long arms, and man, but
yeah, they got a certain body type in their secondary. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, they really do, and it played out good for them because I thought they defended some passes that otherwise, you thought would have been completion. So that really jumped out to me. And my last thing is about the game. Just one, people keep asking me, well, Sam Stafford, he'll retire when this year's over. And I go, well, I don't know about that. I mean, he could,
right?
But I would say to him, why? They did a better job of giving you a little protection there, and I know they can fix it. And now, he's going to be in the offseason. Hell, he's not going to go to mini camp and throw. He might do, you know what I'm saying? It'll be
Yeah.
we'll just move you up and get you ready for the start of the season.
Right.
Well, like they did this year. And the other thing too is this, Matt. What is he going to do in life that's even close to what he is doing? He is one of the greatest throwers, passers in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
And it hasn't changed much. And the plays you're talking about, Tom Brady was like, ooh, wow, ooh. Hell, even when the ball was in the air, I'm sitting there watching TV, go, it's a good pass. You know what I mean? Thought it was going to be intercepted, especially that deep over he threw one time. I don't know what made him throw it, except the fact that he knew the window was maybe a foot, and I can throw it exactly there.
He threw it because he hit Colby Parkinson with the same pass where he laid it right over a defender that was basically ran the route for him. So he just misjudged that one to Puka Nacua. Thankfully, Puka made a play on that one and kind of changed it. Of course, that's the play in the turn of events where they have the pass breakup. Then the taunting play comes up very shortly after that. Then, of course, right after that taunting penalty, they attack him, win the one-on-one, Puka Nacua again for the touchdown over the top. And you're just thinking, wow, like, okay, this is the moment where the game is going to change. And all of that following another Rams mistake in special teams, and so that's where, these games, these critical games towards the end of the year, it's amazing how these themes continue to pop up for teams. And in big time moments, that's where it's like that whole thing, like, hey, this is the thing that's going to get us beat if we don't correct it now. You think the Rams are having a little bit of that chat about special teams today? I would say so, right? Maybe not even having that chat. It doesn't have to be said. It's known, right? But, for the Seattle Seahawks, you thought that was a little bit of a questionable moment there for their football team and what was going on the sideline, because they're a damn good football team. And they were playing some good defense. And at that moment, you would think, hey, the defense is going to go off the field. They stopped the Rams, and that kept them in it and kind of kept everything a little bit more stressful than they would have liked. I think the Seahawks would have pulled away if they wouldn't have gotten that, personal foul taunting penalty. Like it did seem like it was kind of like getting a little scary for them at that moment of the game. So that penalty really did save them from a lot there in that situation.
I'll say this. The one thing I would not want to be, of course, I never was good enough to do this, is to be a punt returner. Yeah. I mean, because punt, it's different. The kickoff is a totally different catch than the punt. Yeah. The punt's going to have more movement to it. Is it going to slide as it comes down? Is it going to turn over? Whatever. And, I do this a lot. Like, just watching any game during the year, I see the punt, I go, okay, caught it, good. And,
it's unfortunate for Xavier Smith. I mean, that's a play that if you played sports long enough, you can understand what happened to him in that situation where, he probably knew that he was in a bad position there. And he, probably 9 times out of 10 would have bailed out and just said, I couldn't catch it. I was losing control of my body, all that. For whatever reason, as he's falling back, he still kind of reaches out to grab it. And, unfortunately, it goes in the other direction for the other team and was a huge swing in the football game. And you think the Tariq Woolen, taunting penalty was going to be maybe the one that kind of counters it to balance it out a little bit, but still just wasn't enough for the Rams to kind of overcome, even though they got the touchdown. Lindsay, our producer of our show here at Believe, this is Sims Complete on Believe Sports Network, brought to you by FanDuel. Lindsay, our producer of the show, mentioned this before we went on, and I think she raises a really good point, and one that I didn't really think about at the time very heavily just because it was still early in the football game. But third quarter, 2 minutes left. They do hit Puka Nacua for that touchdown, for the 34-yard touchdown. That makes the score now 31-26. Would you have gone for 2 in that situation to make it a 3-point game? Or were you okay with the Rams kicking the extra point and just moving on with the football game at that moment?
Yeah, I'm embarrassed to say this. Usually I'm all over that stuff, man. I watch it and I go, what are you doing? I'm coaching from the couch. It didn't even occur to me either at the time. I guess I was thinking of so many other things. Maybe that's why I didn't. Just the fact that how the game was going and how all that. But I'm trying to think. So it was 31-26. They kick it to make it 27.
Right.
If it didn't raise my antennas, then I don't know what to say. I guess I'd have kept it that way. If you go for it, don't make it, they kick a field goal, you can still score and go for two and tie it up.
Right.
So, yeah, bad on my part that I didn't see that.
No, it's a good thought. And I think the reason why it didn't come to my mind, right, is that which is so great too. The Chargers hire Mike McDonald as their offensive coordinator there, as I see that. But yeah, I mean, unbelievable. But either way, in my mind, being it so early in the third quarter or late in the third quarter with a whole quarter left, I didn't think about it necessarily at that moment of going for two. And especially with just them getting back into the game, you know how I feel about 2-point conversions, and if they don't go well, it's almost like a turnover in itself in a lot of ways, and just the way that it kind of, especially on the road, get the crowd back into it. And yeah, we just scored a touchdown, but it's like a little deflating. We didn't get the 2-point conversion, but I understand the theory of it, and I appreciate Lindsay bringing this up, because if they do go for two and get it, that does make the decision there on 4th and 4 for McVay and Stafford. Like, yeah, kick the field goal, tie the game. Let's move on. There's still 5 minutes essentially left in the game with 3 timeouts.
Yeah.
So maybe it changes that decision later in the football game, which is an interesting thought.
I think you're right. 31-26. That's 27. No, what was the score? 31?
It was 26, right? But then they choose to kick the extra point to make it 27.
Yeah. So you have to make one of the 2 times. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You got to get the 2-point conversion somewhere if you do it. If you don't make it the first one, it's almost like what's used all the time when teams score. They go for the 2-point conversion because we get to go twice. We're going to make just one of these 2. So it kind of goes into that category. But good catch by Lindsay. Did they talk about it on TV? I don't remember hearing anything.
No, they didn't really go over it much. They kind of glossed over that point in the game. And I think that's all because we were all like just wrapped up in the game a little bit. And just the fact that like it was all of a sudden turning into this wild, wild West football game. And we're like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Just need more action, man. Let's go. And that's how I felt. I mean, I was literally looking at my wife being like, this game is awesome. Like, I don't want it to end. It is just super entertaining. And I was like, the quality of play by both football teams, and especially the quarterbacks, is what you dream of watching in a critical game. She's like, yeah, it feels like a Super Bowl. And I'm like, because it is, in a lot of ways, right, with the energy in this one. But let's go now to, all right, so Tariq Woolen, man, talk about the happiest guy in the world at the end of this football game and surviving that penalty. Because, of course, like that's one of those moments like where, you're hoping that it doesn't cost your team the game. Let's go now to the critical situation, though, later in the game with this matchup, right? It's a 3rd and 4. Okay, Matt Stafford scrambles to the right. He misses Mumfield on the little sidearm throw there to the right corner. The Seahawks play this play extremely well there in the low red zone. It's 4th down now. Big guy, your thoughts? Kick the field goal. You like that they went for it. What are your thoughts on that moment by Sean McVay at the end of the game? 3 timeouts left with just under 5 minutes at the time when the snap takes place.
I had no problem with the decision.
Okay.
I didn't, but I think, again, I wasn't like clear of thought because I was wrapped up in the game. You know what I mean? I was like, damn, it's just decision-making by the coaches. Usually I write down many things every week. I wrote down quite a few of the first game, but not many in the second game.
Okay.
So yeah, it didn't catch my attention where it was on my radar, because if it was, I'd have tweeted it out. I love second guessing everybody with tweets. But,
well, that's what it's for. That's literally the invention of it now. Yeah.
What about you? Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was bad game management. I really did. I remember even saying it right when I was sitting there, with my wife watching. And of course, when I'm sitting there on the couch, I'm very brave with my decision making, right? No doubt about it. I was so brave sitting on that comfortable couch. But I would have kicked the field goal. I would have made it a 1-point game.
Yeah.
And I would have just taken the fact of like, all right, hey, let's go, Seattle. Show that you can drive down the field again and just continue this onslaught that you have, or are you going to get tight now that we're back in it and it is a 1-point game and essentially, 0-0 to an extent, right? So I would have kicked the field goal. had the 3 timeouts left, seen how that drive, even if Seattle gets a first down or 2, you could still stop them and get the ball back with maybe a timeout or 2 left, the 2-minute warning and all that, and still be able to position to win the football game if they kick a field goal or even if they score or if you force a punt. I just felt like that would have extended the game a little bit more in the favor of the Rams with that given situation.
Well, what it would have done for sure, it changes the managing of the game, how you're going to do it, the plays are going to be called. So it just changes all that dramatically as you get to that position.
Right.
Yeah. So that makes it tougher on both sides. It makes it tough on the defense, the offense, especially how you're going to do it, what plays you're going to call. We're going to work the clock. Are we going to try to do this? So there's a lot.
And that's what I look at. I look at of like, hey, give yourself the pass, kick the field goal, and now make them stress about
more pressure.
How do we manage this?
Yeah.
Exactly right. Make the quarterback say, yeah, I'm not going to make this throw because now it is a 1-score game, right? So I feel like it would have just made them a little bit more trigger shy offensively. They would have started to play more for the management and made it been more run first, second down thought process.
Yeah,
so I thought Sean McVay just kind of jumped the gun in that situation. I also want to ask you too about this turn of events as well, big guy, right? So we have the first timeout taken by the Rams at 3:26. Okay. This is following a 3-yard run by Kenneth Walker, right? So it's 1st and 10, 3-yard run. It's 2nd and 7. Incomplete pass by Sam Darnold to Rashid Shaheed, right? Now, Seattle takes 1 timeout before their 3rd down call. This is where Sam Darnold hits Cooper Kupp on the shallow cross versus man coverage. First of all, it was a good throw, but an even better catch because it was thrown slightly behind versus man coverage, and that was exactly what you mentioned. Cooper Kupp with his man-strength hands, reaching back, grabbing it, and still being able to get over the first down. Sean McVay calls his 2nd timeout after that completion with 3:11 left. This is where I feel like Sean McVay prematurely jumped the gun of calling a timeout, especially with the play that was very close to the first down marker in the first place. Kirk Morrison of SiriusXM mentioned, that's where the abbreviated, checking by the review booth and all that stuff has to be cleaned up because Sean McVay's waiting to see, what they rule the play as.
Yeah.
I think he just got over anxious and mismanaged the game in this situation. Because I think in reality, it's like, okay, there's still 3 minutes left. Who cares if it takes another 3 or 4 seconds off the clock? You just got to know the right situation, whether to potentially challenge it or if you're going to hold your timeout now and still have 2 for the next 3 downs of the Seattle Seahawks drive. So that I think was a crucial moment on top of not taking the field goal, him rushing to call the 2nd timeout. If he waits to see where that ball is marked, then he can properly challenge it because that's why he didn't challenge.
Right.
He called the 2nd timeout. If he challenges it on top of it and loses, which he would have, then they would have had no timeouts and the game would have been officially over. But that's also why he followed up with the timeout, that 3rd timeout with 3:05 right after that. So I think
there's nothing you can say that I disagree with. That's for sure.
Right.
It was a tough situation. I think I remember I said to my wife, why are they doing that? Or I kind of believe what you're saying is what I was thinking as it was going on.
Okay.
And so, man, somebody has to be telling him. Don't most teams have a guy that talks to the coach all about the clock and managing the game in a situation like that? I think so. I know some teams that do. I don't know if they all do, but that would be a situation. If nobody was helping Sean make that decision, then next year they will have that guy.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot,
Yeah.
And I remember I agreed with you as it went on. I was watching, I I didn't really dig into it. But
I was like, well, why did he call the 2nd timeout so quickly?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like a play where it was something where like, oh, we know for a fact that they're short, they're not going to go for it. That was it was just too tight on the line with that completion for you to run up and go, oh, hey, call a timeout. So that I think they just rushed the gun trying to proactively get themselves back in the game. And again, all that feeling that they had, the anxiousness of it, would have been dissipated if they just would have put the pressure back on the Seattle Seahawks again in the first place.
Right.
So that's where, with Sean Payton, with Sean McVay, both Mikes got him. The Mike and Mike versus the Sean and Sean game. But that's where I feel like, unfortunately, mismanagement cost both teams the game, right, in these situations.
Well, it's amazing how many times it comes up, managing the game, from the start of the season to the end.
Yeah.
There's going to be situations like that happen many, many times. And you got to, like I said, it's, I blame Sean McVay making the wrong decision, but also he needs help. And then, all my time playing, we had a guy that would be next to Bill Parcells.
Right.
Because Bill was a great game manager, but he would clarify it right away. He just had that brain. It was Ray Hanley who became the coach after Bill.
Right.
But man, he would know the exact, almost to the second, what you should do with the timeout, what's going to be left, and everything you can think of. It was right there. So we always knew, but really tough on Sean McVay.
It is.
Sure, he's going to read a lot about it and hear a lot about it, but next year, that situation will come up again. And if he's not going to do it the right way, then somebody's got to be in his ear telling him more. That's one thing that has to happen.
Yeah. And then, for Sean too, who I love and enjoy the hell out of watching, and just how he managed the game. I thought it was a little, I don't know, a little testy, but I guess that's also what's refreshing too, is that, it seems like the NFL, just a few years ago, we were in this world of everybody's great. It's everybody's a winner, and like this, I feel like this season in particular, we're getting back to a little of the no, we don't like them. We actually hate them. We despise them, and even, even, with the Ben Johnson LaFleur thing, just now with McVay and McDonald, how he answered his, no, it had nothing to do with them. It was all about us. That was great. I feel like that was a shot at LA and Sean and all of them, right? Because Seattle thinks that they're misrepresented sometimes because of San Francisco, because of LA, and not having that star power.
That's true. They are.
Yeah.
Seattle is. They're, as you said, misrepresented. Yes. People forget about them. Hell, I come up here on Monday morning, very seldom I go, man, I got to check that Seattle game out first.
I know, but it's also they were the number one seed for a reason too, so that's what's funny about it. And even Sean in the post-game press conference saying about the fourth down call, they kind of lucked into covering our concept. And I was just like, whoa, that's quite a comment to make about the opposing team. And now, hey, emotions are high, no doubt about it, right? But I just feel like we're setting the bar for a great 2026 regular season here. With some of these storylines and some of these characters, because Mike Macdonald's not going anywhere. Sean McVay's not going anywhere. The Ben Johnson, LaFleur thing isn't going anywhere for a while, So I just think it's a really cool, refreshing time in the NFL where we're getting back to hey, it's not just fantasy football. No, it's real football, and I don't like you.
I kind of like that. Games are more fun as a player, even when there was animosity towards the other team.
Right.
When the game was over, did the coaches shake hands?
That's a good question. I actually didn't notice that. I didn't notice that. Yeah, I'm sure they did.
By the time, as soon as the game ended, there was 9,000 people.
Yeah. I would love if they switched that up a little bit in the NFL. I wish they would keep some of the reporters and some of those things off the field for just a second, because these guys can't even enjoy one moment on the damn field, to themselves, before they're just hijacked by everyone in mass media. But
nobody wants to hear this, but this was talked about with me and Diana. And before the game, after the game, she goes, why is there so many people on the field?
Yeah.
And before the game, and I go, yeah, I know. I don't ever, and I hate to, it's been a long time, but I don't know when this started happening. Every player has their wife on the field and this. And
well, championship games are different So now
it's during regular season games too. There's just a lot of people.
Yeah, I haven't regular season, I feel like it is more so along the lines of like people within media and all that. And it's just like, hey, there's more media outlets than ever, right? To getting sideline passes, the photographers, cameramen, all that. But for championship games, they are different, where if you are the home team, typically if you feel like you are going to win the football game, your families start to kind of make their way down to the field so they can be on the field for the celebration. That's how it was with us in Atlanta and all that, right? But I would say that would be one of the reasons why it also felt like the field was pretty crowded there towards the end during that celebration.
Yeah, I'm all good with that for sure. I'm not complaining about that. It's before the game and even during the game. Hell, you can walk on the sideline. There's so many people there.
Right.
With every team, it's not just one. We got 32 doctors, 6 other guys doing it. It's unbelievable. It really, it is.
It is.
I would not have been good at this because I hated people being on the sideline.
I know you do. I know.
Please don't even think of talking to me. Just whatever. Great. You did a great job of clearing it all up with Sean McVay, the play clock, all that. It's just a lesson to learn in the game for everybody involved.
And we haven't even talked about the other game yet. But I think what we're getting to, though, too, is like this whole fad that started about 5 or 6 years ago. Hey, and we've heard some people on TV talk about it. We've discussed it ad nauseum this season. Kick field goals.
Oh, God.
And if you're not going to kick field goals, then don't even have a kicker on your freaking roster. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Kick the damn ball. These guys are better than they've ever been. And we're taking opportunities away from them because of that stupid A word analytics. But man, it is just so silly sometimes when all right. So now
that's it. Hey, just once. I still haven't heard it. Analytics says not to go for it here.
Listen, analytics doesn't take into account that, what you're going to call is a bad call. Analytics doesn't take into account what they're going to call defensively and the situation and the probability of like, well, if you do this, 10 situations, you're going to win 9 of them. All right, well, guess what? We only play one damn game. If it was a 7-game series, I trust analytics more. If it was baseball, I trust it more. But in football, it's just got to show up and play. You got to trust your instincts,
I talked to 2 ex-NFL players Saturday, and we talked for a long time because we got into all this stuff. Analytics, when they go for this. And you know what? I guess it's older players or whatever. They said exactly the same thing. They go for it on 4th down way too much.
Yeah.
And of course, here we are, the Patriots going to the Super Bowl. But the biggest story is that Sean Payton decided to go for the 1st down. Not only, I'm telling the truth, I didn't tweet it out. It was about a half a yard. Don't you think? It was about a half a yard. It wasn't a full yard.
It was definitely a long 4th and yard to go in that situation. And what's even funnier, big guy, right? We did our show to preview the game. And we were like, Sean Payton's going to have about 10 different versions of the roll right pass in this football game. You know who else was preparing and watching and preparing for this game? Yeah, the New England Patriots were, right? We watched the film. We saw that there was a high probability that they run these plays in 3rd and 4th down, critical situations. Bo Nix ran 5 or 6 of them in probably 2 or 3 games this season, right? Yeah. And there they were. Right. And in the press conference, the post-game press conference, he mentioned that they had a nickel run lined up. The timeout was called by Denver. Right. They came back. They got under center. They brought the extra tackle in, all of that stuff, and did the roll pass. And Sean's like, well, they lined up in a 6-1 front. And, for anyone out there, a 6-1 front, that means 6 people at the line of scrimmage, right, for the offense that they're looking at, 6 defenders at the line of scrimmage. And it's very difficult to run some of those nuanced roll passes with that front because you have an extra defender that's typically not there. And Milton Williams went unblocked, right? Typically on that play, someone would have pushed him down and then went vertical, or someone would have hit him and stayed locked because of that situation.
Right.
But it was a unique front that they definitely had not seen. The Patriots were prepared and all over it. They were expecting that play. They played for that play. They got that play. And Sean McVay miscalculated very early on in this football game, which ultimately cost them winning an AFC Championship game.
Well, you said it was a long yard. I said the opposite. I thought it was about a half a yard.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a long yard. I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter. Just kick the damn field goal.
Marcus Jones is the kid that went down inside, slipped, got up, and ran to the sideline and made the tackle, which was incredible. But here we go. I thought they would kick the field goal. That was my first thought. Then I saw they were going, for the first down, and I didn't have a problem with it. I'm like, all right. Take the quarterback, sneak it up the middle, hand it off, just blast it in the middle. And I'm thinking, well, it's not a big deal. What were they on the 20, what yard line? 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there?
14-yard line.
14?
Yep.
So I guess that's what it was. I'm thinking if they score a touchdown, I'm kind of doing what Sean does. I'm in listening to him. If we score a touchdown, man, it's going to be rough, really rough for New England to come back if we get this lead on them. So that was kind of my thought. But otherwise, I would have tweeted it out immediately that I didn't agree with what they were calling.
Yeah.
I did kind of agree. I didn't have a big problem with it. You're right. 2 defensive linemen basically got out of that. They were in, everybody was up. The formation on defense, you said. And it's many things. One, I think you and I talked a little bit, maybe right after halftime or whatever. And I just said, when the game was over, I just go, wow, New England overall just outcoached the Denver Broncos. That's one thing that I saw and thought about the game. They were running games up front. They had, one of the linebackers on the guard, and he would always hit him and then run, and they would pick for each other on the pass rush.
Yeah.
And man, they were great.
Yeah.
And they were picking, and so Jared Stidham, just made it rougher on him. I never thought he'd have to move as much as he did, and that kind of, fell apart for him because he's not Bo Nix.
Right.
He's not as quick or as fast getting out of the pocket, and he doesn't have Bo Nix's arm either. So,
right.
Yeah, man, I know it surprised you, but I was like, okay, go for it. It's, you can overcome it if you don't get it.
Yeah.
Things like that, which usually I'm just the opposite. For some reason, yesterday I was like, okay, I understand.
Yeah, I get you. I do. And I'm not making it up either as far as I'm not one of these, hindsight. Oh, yeah, definitely should have kicked it. I was saying, I wasn't saying, I was yelling at my screen to kick the ball.
Yeah.
And I was very boisterous. And of course, my family's like, what the hell is wrong with Dad? But either way, yeah, I just think that was an opportunity for, again, for his post-game press conference, when he's talking about why he chose what he did, he mentions, you kind of take into effect what you're seeing on the other side and what you expect and how the game's going. And, I wish they would have followed up and be like, well, yeah, what did you see from the other side? Because from New England's offense at the time, 3 plays, 6 yards, punt, 6 plays, 11 yards, punt, 3 plays, -5 yards, punt. That's what you were seeing. The Broncos were absolutely dominating the game.
Yes.
Physically, the crowd noise. They were going to run them out of the stadium. And I really thought that a 10-point lead was going to be almost impossible for the New England Patriots to come back on, because I didn't think they were going to separate in the passing game. And I didn't think that they were going to be able to establish a run well enough, especially with a 10-point deficit, right, to you really got to be concerned about that being what cost you the game.
Right. Well, that's a great. You're right in all those aspects. I thought Denver was dominating the game big time, and of course, when they didn't get that 4th down play, it maybe it's just me thinking, but I just went, wow, that took some big time life out of the Denver Broncos.
Right.
And it emboldened the New England Patriots.
Yeah, and we've said that a few times this year, right? Is that turnover on downs and these analytics, when you go for it and don't get it, they're super deflating. We kind of gloss over it during the regular season because you can't quite say, all right, that's why they lost. But here we are in the championship game.
Yes.
And you can absolutely say that's one of the main reasons why they lost.
Well, I think, too, there's many things about the game, but the one thing that Jared Stidham. I know the snow, but what I saw in the game, it wasn't what I expected.
Yeah.
I expected more plays that were going to be easy for him because Sean Payton was going to fix the formation, do whatever he had to do to get a throw where here he is. They had a few of them, but nothing like I expected.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that. And then the other thing is, I wish the snow wouldn't have come in. Yeah, it was kind of cool looking at it on TV, but I want to see the athletes decide the game, and which you still do. But the weather became such a big problem, and it just ruined the second half in my eyes because nobody could do anything.
Right.
I think my one thing of saying, I thought Drake May, and everybody's going to look at his stats and all that, but overall his running was not big; it was humongous.
Yeah.
And as the game went on, he kind of got into the flow of it a little better. I remember the one play he dropped and he was looking left the whole time. And I can't remember who he threw it to on the right between a couple of defenders. Then he turns and throws it. And I said, yeah, my man has settled down.
Yeah.
And he probably, of the two quarterbacks, I think he was far more capable of handling the weather than Stidham was.
Right.
I mean, just in many ways. He could run. He's bigger, faster, stronger arm. And just New England, I can't even quantify it right now, except this. Damn, are they well coached?
Yes, they are.
Well, they can coach it round and they can coach it flat. And they really can. And they're tough as hell. And I wrote this down. Where is it?
I know exactly which. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, their D line is not talked about enough. My God, they got multiple guys that can get to the quarterback, and they keep them fresh. And every game I watch, I mean, think of who they beat: the Chargers, the Houston Texans, and now Denver. Man, that's some tough sledding for an offense to go through those three defenses, but they survived it.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for their offense to survive, and that's why they're also on the top of the list of fewest points scored by a team going into the Super Bowl. They joined the 2000 Baltimore Ravens football team. They joined the 2007 New York Giants football team. And I want to say the other one was one of the Chiefs football teams as well that survived to get to the Super Bowl. But they joined a pretty good group of defenses, right, that really were the show. They were the stars of the show. And, even the scramble, there's two plays I want to kind of go over that are interesting. The Drake May scramble for 16 yards before half, where he slides and Vrabel calls the timeout as he's like, Vrabel's yelling at him, get down. And then literally is like, ref, poof, like waiting for him. That was remarkable.
It was.
That was absolutely. Now they missed the field goal.
Yeah.
But still, that was like, holy shit, are they on top of this situation? That was remarkable. The other play, right, that I think has to be highlighted, of course, is just Jared Stidham's screen pass, where it's a screen, throw it in the dirt and move on. Sean Payton's trying to dial up a play for you to kind of get you a completion, to feel confident and all that. He missed a wide receiver screen early on in the football game that would have went for a big-time play. But still, he held on to it, holds it, then tries to do the forward pass, right? And in a weird way, it actually hurt the Broncos. If it would have just been recovered and returned for a touchdown, they would have gotten the football back and had a little bit more of a drive. But because of how it all turned out, took more time off the clock and kind of left them in limbo after that. But and also to the abbreviated review too, which I thought was interesting. But that was a great example of the play right there that I think as soon as Stidham made that play, I was like, Patriots are going to win the football game now. It's over. Yeah.
I think I kind of felt that way right from the beginning of the second half all the way through.
Yeah.
I could just feel the sense of urgency, the emotion, and just they won the physical battle.
Right.
That's what it came down to. Here we go. Maybe I even text you during the game. We had one team is super fast and all that stuff. And then we had the power team, and the power team is the Patriots.
Yeah.
Running the football, defensive front, how they play, whatever you want to do. And, and the Broncos, if I classified them, I'd say they're a fast team. But speed was not a factor in the game. One, because of the conditions, and maybe two, that New England was all over everything that the Denver Broncos were trying to do.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to what I said real quick, earlier. I didn't think Sean Payton had enough plays for the quarterback.
Yeah. And the other problem for Jarrett Stidham, right, in this game was that the Broncos never really were a team that established any sort of toughness or ability to run the football consistently throughout the season. And that limited them in this situation to protect Jarrett Stidham, right? So they couldn't really rely on just, hey, we're going to line up and just, as you would say, honk it up in there, right?
Yeah,
and, it's just because that was just not their style. But the second half of the football game, it was real simple. To me, as soon as the second half started snowing, I was like, this is Army-Navy. It's Army-Navy.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was like, Drake May is Blake Horvath, the quarterback for Navy this past year, who won, the Commander-in-Chief award for his football team. But that was the difference, right? Drake May's ability to scramble and make a few plays, and him and Ramondre Stevenson totaling for 141 total. Drake had 65 of them. Stevenson had 71 on 25 carries. And, that really was, I think, just the difference in this outcome is the Drake May's ability to use his legs in critical moments to keep drives going and to run out the clock even more for them.
Well, New England looked at it this way. Wow, this is good weather because they played in some, the Houston game. It poured all
That's
game.
Right. That's right.
But that was one thing. But also, and I watched the game again this morning, and the Denver Broncos really had a hard time getting open on any plays almost.
Yeah.
The secondary was all over the wide receivers for the Broncos. The D-line was winning the battle, getting to the passer, stopping the run, whatever it is. They were wicked, and just, their intensity and their drive, whatever you want to say, it's just different. I saw it on the field.
Yeah.
And I see it with the coach on the sideline. And damn, both coaches, we saw Mike Vrabel. That was tremendous.
Yeah.
And of course, their offensive play calling is always, all year long, very few games that were not really well done by the Patriots and what they're trying to do on the offensive side.
Yeah. And it's really, so two things too, right? For both teams that won yesterday, right? There's no doubt that when they need to, they are not afraid to just mug it up and play man coverage and just say they're not going to make contested catches against us, right? So the Seahawks and the Patriots, both very similar as far as that. Now, the Broncos are capable of that too. There's no doubt about it, right? But just there's definitely a clear thing that like these guys cover well in the back end. The other thing that I think that you just mentioned that's super interesting about this, and I kind of lost my train of thought, but just with this matchup, where was I going with that thought actually? But, with this game, man, I wish it was right on the tip of my tongue there for just a moment, but yeah, go ahead.
No, the Denver game or the Super Bowl?
The Denver game. Well, for the Super Bowl and Josh, you mentioned Josh McDaniels. Thank you for reminding me. So now,
Josh McDaniels, yes.
We're getting to this point now with Josh McDaniels, right? And just like, you can't tell me, right now, we're going to do it again this offseason and just, hey, this offensive coordinator became the head coach here. It's not a big deal. They'll still be able to win. No, that is not true, right? Coaching matters, right? Coaching is everything. What Vrabel has done, what Josh McDaniels has done. Hey, say what you want about McDaniels as a head coach, all right? He's now going to go to, I think, his 7th or 8th Super Bowl, right? He's won 6, okay? Beat his former team, who he used to be a head coach of, which is awesome. But, all right, now he's going to go to the Super Bowl with Tom Brady. He was the offensive coordinator for Mac Jones when he was Rookie of the Year. And now he's got Drake May going to the Super Bowl too. So, again, just this whole like, and it goes back to that the people who were like, oh yeah, Tom was everything. Tom did it all by himself. And it's like, yes, he is great. I get that.
Yeah.
But you also have to reflect on just the surrounding cast and preparation that goes into these games.
Sure.
And I even think about the flea flicker to Mac Hollins and just saying, how about the fact that they just called a flea flicker as it's starting to flurry and it's and they're using this to extend drives. Like
and a great throw.
Great throw. So just Josh McDaniels, assistant coaches, game management, here we are trying to make the game super complicated and it's not, You got to have coaching talent and coaching culture that really help your players succeed. And that's why the Patriots are in the position they're in now.
And you know, too, you need players, of course, to really verify everything that you're teaching and you're
course.
in front of them. Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, during this playoffs, it's been great for me just to learn more about the Patriots.
Yeah.
And as I watch them, I go, there's first and foremost, disciplined and tough.
That's right.
Damn. And that's the first thing. And I see it big time with their defense. You know, their offense did scare me a little bit more this playoff season. And, you know, of course, it's just different. When you got a young quarterback, it's not there he is, Josh McDaniels. He has to kind of work him through the game too.
Right.
I thought he did a good job. And like I told you, as the game went on, I looked at Drake May and go, yeah, he feels pretty good now.
Yeah.
He's into the game. Couple throws I saw told me that. And of course, now I've been looking all over. Did he keep that keeper on the last play by himself, or did they tell him not to tell anybody?
I'm gonna take the estimated guess that that Josh McDaniels called the play and then said to Drake, keep it. Right. So it's like Drake's calling the play and just saying, hey, blah, 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 you know, boom. And that's it. And only he knows that he's keeping the football.
But Josh McDaniel said, keep it.
I would say yes, that he called it that way. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Second-year quarterback, you don't have the authority yet to be keeping it on your own.
I don't think so. I think that was
yeah.
I think that was one of those safe calls where, like, even him and Vrabel, again, just being on the same page of, like, let's keep it around the end. If he gets tackled behind the line of scrimmage, at least he's inbounds and the clock, you know, and all that, right? But just, it was definitely a fantastic call in that situation for
and I think another thing real quick is you watch the game, there's Mike Vrabel. He's always got that squinch or whatever a little bit.
Right.
But how he reacts to every player, or as many as he can, every time they come off the field.
Right.
And it's just positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
And his connection to the players, which, you know, a lot of coaches have, but he does it in a different way. He shows his emotion and his, whatever you want to call it, affection, or just what they're doing with his players.
Yeah.
And man, it comes out. And that's why I think when you look at the game in the Super Bowl, just my first thought is, no matter what happens, New England's going to hang in there.
Yeah.
That I know. They're going to hang in to, doesn't matter who's in the game. Yeah, it's Seattle, but it wouldn't matter. They just know how to hang in the games, how to play it. They're led by the coaches. And, man, they just got a lot of guys on both sides of the ball that just want to play and do well.
Yeah, that's interesting too. And, Lindsay, if you don't mind throwing up the odds again for the Super Bowl there, for us. So Seahawks 4.5-point favorites over the Patriots. The over under is set at 46.5. You know, I mean, man, 4.5. That's a lot, honestly, for me. And some people have already. What's that?
46 is a lot.
Yeah, that is too. I agree with that. I agree.
mean, listen, the Seattle probably isn't going to try to grind the game down, but it wouldn't shock me that New England's going, you know, let's go in there and let's just make the game go quick and just, you know, ruin it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to run and get some first downs, use the clock. Oh, another first down like they did.
Yeah.
My God, but how many plays was that one drive? Was it 14?
Out of the third quarter?
Yeah.
16 plays. Took
16?
about 9 minutes off the clock.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's watching the game. I'm going, well, I'm now thinking they're going to win, of course, but I'm also thinking, man, come on, let's go. Let's throw the ball a little. Get some action.
No, I think they knew exactly what.
Well, I know they know, but I was like, as a fan, I'm like, okay, I respect what you're doing and admire it to a certain extent, but you know, I'm a fan too. I want to see more action, but it was great game management by Mike Vrabel. That's for sure.
It is. It really is. And he's a great example of just like, this is why you don't just take all of these calculative risks and all this stuff. Like, he did it more in the old school route, the way that other people believe the game should be played.
Right.
And it's paid off for him this entire season. And there just seems to be this theme too with the football season in general, right? Because football, I feel like for a short period of time was trending towards, you need superstars. You need the best quarterback. You need the best skill group around him. And if not, you're not going to win anything. And, here's the Patriots. Here's the Seahawks. Okay. Here's the Indiana Hoosiers. And it's really simple. It's about everybody as a team, as a group. It's the collective group, right? It's not about just like, oh, we have the best QB and all that. No, they have great quarterback play. They have great coaching. They're balanced on both sides of the football. There's no self-inflicted wounds in their plays. They play great special teams. I mean, how about Schooler? Oh, my God. Yeah. I mean, he's still covering punts for the damn New England Patriots, tackling people in Denver. I mean, so just those things. And then the same thing, too, for the LA Rams, right? There they were. They put Emmanuel Forbes out there at gunner, who typically has not done that for an extended period of time throughout the year. And he doesn't block the guy that ends up recovering the fumble on Xavier Smith's fumble on the punt, right? So it's like two different opposite thoughts as far as the importance of that side of the football. And, just a great example of just how awesome a team game this is.
Yeah, and, it really is. It's the ultimate team game in all of sports. And this is another one you hear, well, we can't believe what, Sam Darnold is going to play in the Super Bowl.
Oh, please.
I mean, but what I'm saying is there's many quarterbacks in the NFL capable of going and winning the Super Bowl.
I think all 32 are capable of winning a Super Bowl, right?
Well, I don't know if I'll go that far, but but there's many, and but we've narrowed it down to 4 or 5.
Right.
And it's a new era. It is. The quarterback position is better than it's ever been in history, in my eyes. Right. And it's going to stay there too. Yeah. And so we got to have just this 1, 2, Josh Allen didn't win, and it's a year that these other quarterbacks. What the hell's that got to do with it? They're not there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It
doesn't play against them, Yeah,
I know. So, but I just my thought always is, I wrote it down there, many quarterbacks given the right situation, Sam Darnold, for sure. Even Matthew Stafford. I mean, he's in a great situation. He's got a coach that knows him and calls plays that he knows that are good for my quarterback. And that's why you're in this damn thing every year. Right. And the New England Patriots, second-year quarterback, they've managed the hell out of him all year. Yeah. And they got him through the roughest game, 3 rough games. Come on. Right. 3 damn playoff games. And boy, if anybody needs a break, it's Drake May.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, is that he won not just as a quarterback, but as a football player. Right. And that's the other thing, too, that's great. Right. It's not about just like, the position and making the throw. When it does call upon you to do that, we're going to marvel at it like we did for the Seahawks and the Rams game. But it is also about just being a football player and finding a way to win. And that's what Drake May displayed. Right.
And that's what he is. He's a football player. And I don't know if his brothers are coming up, or he'll go down there for a day or two if they get some time off. I wouldn't go, because they'll probably end up pushing you around trying to beat your ass up again.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing, too, that comes up in this game, right? You got to think that although people think that the Seahawks are the better football team and favored to win and all of that, the Patriots, I think, are the team with a little bit more experience as far as how to manage going to the Super Bowl and what the work week looks like, right? As far as just their head coach being a player and a coach and all of that. Of course, Josh McDaniel, his experience as well. Robert Kraft, I mean, he's seen a few Super Bowls in his career now, right? So I think this is a football team that is going to be very prepared logistically, right, for that first hurdle. And that is like, here's the tickets. Here's the family. This is where you stay. Okay, leave me alone. Thank you. Now I have to get back to work.
Oh yeah, they'll do that for sure. Yeah,
no doubt. But man,
well, interesting. It was an interesting game. I will say that the Patriots. It didn't just dawn on me here in this game, but I think it happened in the Houston game. I'm watching it, going, man, the Patriots. They got a lot of bad dudes. They got a lot of dudes that we don't talk about, because it's always just the way it is. The coach, the quarterback, and it gets a lot of attention, rightly so. Yeah. But the defensive line, the offensive line, I thought played really well overall. Yeah.
And your boy Barmore showed up and made some big time plays. Milton Williams was absolutely just just crushing people. Tonga was throwing bodies around, right? So
did Barmore look like a giant on that field? Or boy, oh boy.
Yeah, it's interesting too, right, that you mentioned that, because I feel like with the Patriots, what you really saw is just the importance, and it kind of is very similar to how I felt about the Eagles a year ago. There's no doubt that they have the speed aspect of their defense, but it's the size and physicality that they play with too.
Yeah.
That is absolutely different, because even when they're not winning, you could still see that their presence is making an impact on the game by just throwing bodies around. So that was another example of that.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm good.
All right. You're good. I'm good. All right.
Now I got to watch these games again, since Lindsay and I just didn't think deeply enough in some of these decision makings. And I'm going to watch it here as soon as I'm going to get something to eat first, but then I'll do it, because I'm very curious I'm sure when I watch it, everything I was thinking is going to be, I would think the opposite now.
Yeah.
Well, maybe because I'll pay more attention to it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, why wasn't I watch the game? But whatever, that happens.
It happens. And, we have to give a ton of credit to the individuals that are a part of it, that, maybe, they chose to go left instead of right and all that. And, just how hard it is to make those choices under such situations. And I can talk so confidently and bravely from the comforts of my heated home during this blizzard on that comfortable couch and say, "Oh, that was a dumb decision, coach. What are you doing?"
That's why, I just want to tell everybody, I do tell the truth through my eyes. In other words,
right.
Don't make it up. And it was hard for me to go, but when it happened, that 4th and 1, I just go, okay, I can live with this. And usually almost 99% of the time I'm going, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
But the ones I really disagree with, when it's 4th and 4, like the Bears did, I think it was 4th and 4. They went, well, what the hell?
Right.
The field goal there, I really need the points, but I thought, okay, it's early in the game, 7-0. If they get and score, the game could be over. So I'm kind of going through it that way. And I'm not making apologies here or anything, but everybody I've seen on TV, I'm no one has said this, because everybody the same thing: kick the field goal.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, one show I watch and do get some laughs out of, especially I always do want to hear Rex Ryan's analogy and everything.
Right.
Of course, it's always about defense, but whatever. It's usually spot on, and he's got a great view. He's an ex-coach, ex-coordinator. I'm sure he watches every second of the damn game. He loves it. And so when he talks, I like to listen.
Yeah, no, he gives a great analysis to it each and every time that he's on Get Up too. What's that?
I say he's pretty funny too.
He's pretty funny too, and he's got great teeth, and he's damn proud of them.
Oh yeah, he's got some. Yes,
and they cost a lot. He does one of those. He's got a little bit of a Rodney Dangerfield type of vibe sometimes when he kind of gets on his ringer. But
too. I keep. I was hoping he would get a defensive coordinator's job, because I can't even imagine it would be, everybody. Hey, listen, everybody just line up and everybody blitz.
Yeah, no, that's how it was. We'd be in practice with the Jets, and he'd be like, all right, Sims, you go give it to me. Is it really freaking confusing? I'm like, Coach, I have no idea what the hell I'm looking at. He goes, good. I hope Tom Brady feels the same way. I'm like, he'll have a better plan than me. I know that.
Oh my God. Oh, he would come to you and say, what about?
Well, he just wanted to see, just like, hey, like, does it look confusing at the line of scrimmage? Like, can you tell who's what? And that, I'm just like, Coach, like, I'm just trying to figure out what the hell we're doing on offense. But yes, what you're doing is very complicated, and I'm not sure where to start. But I think Tom will have a better answer than me. But that's part of the game. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it so entertaining too. All the different personalities involved with it. The fine line between being a champion and of course going home early, right? And just how devastating it is for all the teams. And people always kind of make this comment, and just speaking from experience, and you as well, right? Just, they'll be back, and it's like,
no,
I know it's a cute thought, and it's nice to think that way, but this is also why too, when you're in these moments, right? It's not about, tomorrow or this or that. No, it's about, hey, you got to get it done now. You got to get it done now, and you might not ever have another opportunity to do this. You can't let this moment slip past you. And unfortunately for both the Rams and for the Broncos, they'll be having a lot of those questions, and unfortunately, some of them for the rest of their lives. And that's the
true.
Beautifully tragic part about football and about sports and competing at such a high level. So,
and Matt,
awesome games.
Everybody has a chance. Look at New England.
That's right.
Look
exactly.
where they were last year. Hell, they've already had a vacation and come back home.
Yeah. Hey, Raiders, you got a chance. Cardinals, you got it. Browns, you got a well, maybe not the Browns, but everyone else has got a chance, right? But no,
That's
in all seriousness, you're right.
Yeah.
You really do have a chance to rewrite, the future of your franchise relatively quick. This whole rebuilding thing can be done within a year now, right? If you put the right people in place.
Yeah, as long as you got a few pieces, then you can add a few. You go, we're in it. Here we go.
That's right. That's right.
And yeah, so it's really cool. That's what makes it fun about the league. Anybody can get it done, and like you said, you can turn it around quickly now.
That's right.
So, all right, I'm done.
All right, that's what we got. Hey, this is Sims Complete on the Believe Sports Network, brought to you by FanDuel. He's Phil Sims. I'm Matt Sims. Looking forward to the Super Bowl, breaking down more action. We'll be back with some of our NFL Honors show later this week. Right, boy? Yep. Right, my man?
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's go. All right.
Yeah. All right.
Go Giants. All right. We'll see you next time. This is Sims Complete.